This is IQD and VND, and today we bring you breaking coverage of one of the most confidential and extraordinary financial events taking place right now. Imagine, for just a moment, the possibility that the paper currency sitting quietly in a desk drawer, whether it's the Iraqi Dinar, the Vietnamese Dong, or even the long-dismissed Zimbabwe ZIM bond, could suddenly unlock levels of wealth never seen before. For years, this concept has been spoken of in whispers, but the latest developments suggest it has moved from speculation into action. The first operational stages of a major currency revaluation are unfolding. And what was once considered theory is now showing signs of becoming a structured reality. Reports coming in indicate that the initial stage of this process, often called the redemption or exchange phase, has quietly gone live in select regions. This is not a public rollout available to everyone. Instead, it is a limited, highly controlled launch taking place under strict guidelines. Wealthy individuals, private holders, and carefully vetted participants are now being invited to exchange at secure locations. These centers are not typical banks but specialized facilities operating with appointment-only access, layered security, and confidentiality agreements. Those who qualify are reportedly engaging in exchanges at rates far above anything reflected on standard public markets. What makes this moment stand out is the preparation behind it. This has not happened overnight. Planning for such a process has taken more than a decade, with detailed work in the fields of banking infrastructure, cybersecurity, and even global coordination between governments and institutions. Military-level security is reportedly woven into the entire structure, with systems designed to prevent leaks, fraud, or external disruption. This combination of secrecy and precision indicates that what is happening is not a rumor but an intentional, step-by-step operation to test and activate a large-scale financial reset. For those who hold these currencies, the opportunity is unlike anything they may have seen before. The reports describe a very short redemption window, measured not in weeks or months but in hours, in this case. The timeline being mentioned is roughly 36 hours, creating immense urgency for those notified. Missing an appointment, failing to provide the correct documents, or even arriving unprepared could mean losing access entirely. The sense of pressure is not about speculation, it comes directly from the structured nature of the process, which appears to be designed for speed, efficiency, and limited participation. At the heart of this operation is a group often referred to as Tier 4B. While the term may sound technical, it essentially describes a select category of private individuals who are neither governments nor large financial institutions. Instead, they are everyday holders of these currencies who, over the years, have quietly positioned themselves for a potential early exchange. Many within this group have been waiting for more than a decade, following confidential updates and preparing documents in anticipation of this precise window. Their role is important because they serve as the first group to interact with the system in a real, controlled environment. The process for these individuals is not casual. Upon receiving secure communications, often through encrypted links, QR codes, or specially coded scheduling portals, they must confirm their appointments. At the exchange locations, they are required to provide multiple forms of identification, present pristine notes, and, in some cases, submit project plans, particularly in the case of ZIM holders. These steps are all designed to ensure the legitimacy of participants and to set a structured example for how larger groups may follow. Non-disclosure agreements are a standard part of the process, ensuring that details are kept private. Once inside, the exchanges themselves are said to differ from typical banking transactions. Instead of dealing with regular fiat deposits, funds are being placed into newly structured accounts tied to asset-backed or digital systems. There are mentions of advanced financial networks, sometimes described as quantum-based platforms, which aim to provide secure, transparent, and tamper-proof transfers. This makes sense given the scale of what is being attempted. Restructuring currency values across multiple countries at once is no small task, and traditional systems may not be adequate to handle it without risk. While this stage remains quiet, In the mainstream, background activity suggests that these currencies are already being valued differently within private banking systems. Reports claim that the Iraqi dinar is showing rates in controlled exchanges that range far above what appears publicly, with numbers that would shock anyone tracking official markets. The Vietnamese Dong, long considered undervalued, is also surfacing at redemption values far greater than its everyday listed price. Even the Zimbabwe ZIM bond, dismissed for years as worthless, is being considered under unique terms that tie its value to humanitarian or infrastructure projects. The reasoning behind this approach seems to be about testing both liquidity and security. By allowing a smaller, pre-screened group to exchange first, officials can monitor how the system responds, identify any weak points, and correct them before a wider rollout. It also ensures that participants can be closely observed, their transactions logged, and their compliance tested. If this stage succeeds, it could provide the green light for broader phases involving larger populations, but if issues are found, adjustments can be made before the process expands. The impact of these early exchanges cannot be understated. For participants, this represents a life-changing shift, but beyond the individual level, it signals the start of something larger. Financial centers around the world are reportedly on alert, with unusual market activities happening quietly in places like Zurich, Abu Dhabi, and key American cities. While the public may not see these changes yet, the back-end systems used by banks are already showing unusual movements in currency fields previously inactive. This suggests a controlled preparation for something much bigger than isolated transactions. The structure of this operation is being compared to a domino sequence. Tier 4 B acts as the first tile. If it falls successfully, it triggers the rest of the sequence. Tier 4A, which includes pre-vetted military and government-connected individuals, is expected to follow almost simultaneously. Their role has been to prepare the ground, ensuring systems are functional. After that, attention may eventually shift toward the general public, but only after these controlled tests prove successful. The design is clearly meant to limit chaos and ensure that each step stabilizes the process for the next. For Iraq, Vietnam, and Zimbabwe, this development carries special weight. There are discussions that Iraq may soon make a public statement about new valuations of the dinar. Vietnam's central bank has reportedly been running internal dual currency tests, which could indicate readiness for changes. Zimbabwe, while unique in its situation, is aligning its bond redemptions with humanitarian projects, signaling that it is also part of this global structure. Each of these moves points to a broader reconfiguration of how national currencies are valued in relation to assets and reserves. Behind the scenes, institutions are preparing quietly for what happens when news becomes public. Regional banks in several countries are reportedly receiving training materials to handle questions that may come from ordinary people. The expectation is that once early phases succeed, there will be public inquiries, media attention, and perhaps even policy announcements to prepare. Call centers, frontline staff, and financial officers are being briefed on how to respond. The secrecy is heavy, but the groundwork for public interaction is already being laid out. For those involved, preparation is the difference between success and being left out. Holders are being told to ensure their documents are ready, their notes are clean and organized, and their appointment times are not missed. Some are advised to bring structured project proposals, especially when dealing with currencies like the ZIM bond. More importantly, participants must understand the terms of the agreements they are signing. Confidentiality is non-negotiable, and breaches could lead to disqualification. This environment is not casual, it is structured to test discipline, security, and readiness. The significance of this moment lies not just in wealth transfer but in what it represents for global finance. After decades of reliance on systems dominated by a handful of currencies, what we are witnessing is a recalibration toward asset-backed structures. Technology now makes it possible to track, verify, and move currencies in ways that were impossible in past decades. Combined with geopolitical shifts, the decline of single currency dominance, and new alliances forming worldwide, this process could mark the beginning of a new global financial framework. The clock, however, is ticking. The 36-hour exchange window is a sharp reminder that this phase is temporary, exclusive, and fleeting. Once it closes, those who missed out may have no second chance. For those inside, the opportunity is now, and for the rest of the world, the signs point to something historic taking shape quietly but steadily. Whether this becomes a full-scale shift in the coming days remains to be seen. But what is certain is that the gears of change are already in motion.